All right, guys, this is last panel of the weekend. Are you excited? That's good. I need some last panel energy here, so this is what we need. Thank you so much for coming. Cara Buono. You guys might know her from Supergirl. You might know her from this Netflix thing that's kind of scary called Stranger Things. How many are Stranger Things fans here? Ooh, that's almost everybody. How about Supergirl fans? Okay, there's a few. How about Sopranos fans? You guys didn't even know? Yeah, there we go. We got one, right? I see you. I see you. You've seen. How about, there's another big one that I really like. And Mad Men, that's right. Mad Men. Any Mad Men fans? But we really like Stranger Things, don't we? All right. Well, give it up for Cara Buono. Yeah, it's ready for you, too.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for coming today, the last panel.
All right, so this is how this will work. I have my own questions, and I'm sure they're not the questions that you have. So if you would like to ask questions, why don't you go ahead and make a line, because if you don't make a line and don't ask questions, then you're only hearing what I want to talk about, and that's not fun for anyone. So go ahead whenever you feel like, yeah, I got a great question, ask it. Otherwise, we're going to go. When you get up there, I'll call on you. Does that sound good? Sounds good.
Yes.
Are you first time in Cincinnati?
My first time in Cincinnati, yeah.
Have you eaten Skyline chili? That's like a question everyone wants to be asked.
Not yet. I do want Skyline chili. I'm trying to go to Grater's Ice Cream.
Yes, you definitely want Grater's. So
yeah,
here's the deal.
My goal.
Skyline is, I live in Cincinnati, so I love it. No one wants it except my children. They want it all the time. And I eat it. I'm like, yay, Skyline. And I'm like, I'm so
It has
sad that
noodles in it, right?
Yes.
That's what I heard, right?
And
it's
like,
yeah.
I always say it's like Christmas in your mouth. It's like cinnamon and nutmeg. There's some
it's
weird.
Sweet.
No beans in the chili.
Wait, it's sweet?
I don't know if it's sweet. This is what you get when you ask about Skyline. Everyone's like, yeah, a lot of cheese, like
okay.
mountains of it.
Okay.
Like the cheese is twice the size of the spaghetti. Anyways, but you do want Grater's though, so good.
Yeah,
really, really
definitely. Getting some tonight.
So I have a couple questions of my own, and then one fan of yours was like, can you ask this question? And so I will definitely ask that for them.
Let's go for it.
But I do want to ask you something I read.
Yes.
That your first acting gig, you like snuck in for an audition. Is this true?
Oh, yes, that's right. Oh, yeah.
Let's hear that.
I wanted to be an actress, and I grew up in the Bronx. I'm going to make this a short story. I had no idea what I was doing or how to achieve it. There was a trade paper that listed auditions. A lot of different things led me to this one day.
What year has a trade paper? Is that 90s?
A trade paper. The show was called Backstage.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
You know, back in it's still around Backstage, but now it's Backstage.com, right? So,
gotcha.
And let's try to make this short. So there used to be open calls. So you used to like go on an open call, and back then they used to like line you up and like say you and you stay. And I got rejected from like so many things. I had no idea what I was doing. I just my mom would let me skip school. I was like 12 years old, 11 years old. I was from the Bronx. I had like a very heavy Bronx accent. You know, I talked like this. I stuttered. I lisped. I had like all kinds of obstacles. And they said, you're so urban. You can't do anything but this character. There was a character like a pregnant punk from Brooklyn. And there's something called Actors Equity. They would hold open auditions there. And I said, okay, I'm going to go. This is like a perfect part. So they said, are you Equity, which is the union? And I just thought that meant free, like I'm equal. I was like, I am free.
I am equal.
They're like, where's your card? I didn't have a card. They said, you can't come in. And then the woman left the little check-in area, and that's when I snuck in. And I hid in the bathroom, and I thought they were going to call the police on me. And then I saw the door where they had the audition, and I snuck in. I was like, I'm next. And they were like, who are you? And I'm like, if I wasn't for like my acting, I would be a punk, and I have a terrible environment, and I should really get this part. And they were just like laughing at me. I mean, I still know the people from this day. Then they said, come back for a call back, and we'll give you the sides, which are scenes, which I had no idea what they were talking about. The end of the story is, in the scene, I had to roll a joint. I had never rolled a joint in my life, and I took out a big piece of loose leaf paper, And it was a scene that was supposed to be crying and emotional, and I was like rolling this joint. It's like smoking this giant piece of paper, and they were laughing, and I'm thinking, why are they laughing? This is such a sad scene. They cut me off in the middle. They're like, thank you. And I said, I'll never be an actress. And then my mom said, you got a call, and they want to give you this understudy part.
Ooh, as the pregnant punk.
As a pregnancy punk in an off-Broadway play.
So they do not do that kind of thing anymore? The open call sort of deal?
I don't think so, no. It's all online now and submissions, and this is going back to like 1980.
So then did you ever go to school or anything?
I went to LaGuardia High School of the Arts, but that was my introduction to the theater, and I just started doing readings and plays, and I just, once you're in it, people get to know you, and I started out just doing tons of theater.
Yeah. So then you were young, and you're like, I want to be an actress. Where did that come from?
So honestly, I wanted to be a scientist.
A scientist first.
And I didn't have a good education because we kind of grew up with no money and didn't have a really good education. No one's fault. It was just, And I was bored. So, okay, I fell in love with the theater. My intentions at first were not high. All the girls in my neighborhood were going out with boys at a very young age. But because I had 2 brothers, no one would ask me out. So I thought if I'm in a scene and it says to kiss me, they have to kiss me. That was that was the reason I got into acting. I was like, if it says they have to kiss me, then no one can stop them. And that's how. So it wasn't like I was like, oh, I love the theater. I hadn't even seen a play yet. And then I fell in love with the theater.
So then, dumb question, since you talked about your brothers, Bronx, Italian,
yes. Sopranos.
Yes. Was that an easy role for you? Like, yeah, this is just exactly like it is back home, or what?
It was so funny that I mean, of course, I wanted to be on that show. Everyone's like, "Why don't you get on The Sopranos?"
It was like the hot show.
Oh
right?
Yeah, like I just called them up.
It was like the Stranger Things of 2000.
It was. It really was like the biggest show to get on. And I remember when I auditioned for the casting director, she said to me, where's your accent from? I was like, well, this is the real thing. I spent like years trying to get rid of it because people were like, you can't talk like that if you're from Ohio, So, yeah, that was a great job to get.
So I've never actually known anyone who worked on, like, you lost it. You lost the accent. You just got rid of it?
Well, I was mercilessly teased. I didn't know I had an accent because, you grow up in one place. I didn't travel. I didn't go anywhere. Even though I was in New York City, when I was in my own little neighborhood, and it wasn't until I started getting into acting, and people would say, "You have a Bronx accent, and you talk like this," and I couldn't hear it, until it clicked, and I said, "Oh, interesting," but I couldn't afford speech lessons, so I trained myself to listen to people who I thought spoke very well, so that I sounded very affected. I would say, like, "Can you pass the salt?" Ooh. And my brother would be like, "What's going on with you?" But I can actually imitate people very well because I had to train myself.
Ooh,
but when I get drunk or tired or mad, it comes out. It's very effective.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. My wife's Jersey Italian. So
yeah, it's a similar sound, yeah.
So Ethan Hawke, then, you worked with him in the very beginning.
Oh, right.
And now you work with his daughter.
I know.
Any connection there, or just a weird coincidence?
Yeah, no. When I was younger, there's always a group of people coming up at the same time, and Ethan Hawke and I were like in the same group of actors.
Okay.
And I remember Maya when he used to carry her around in the little Bjorn. He was the first of our friends to have a baby.
Yeah, that's ahead of the time, man.
Yeah, and he was young, like in his 20s. Like for us, that was like, wow, he has a baby. And then I was like, when she got on the show, I had lunch, and I said, I knew you had a baby.
So it's just a cool coincidence.
It's crazy,
cool.
yeah.
Awesome. And then, here's my fan question
Okay.
they told me to ask you. And this is coming from your character in Stranger Things, not you.
Yes.
Which is her favorite child?
Oh, that's like Sophie's Choice.
Right. But they wanted me to be like, hey, you got to make her answer the question.
Holly. Holly hasn't done anything to me yet.
Hilarious.
She's a pig.
Man, it's so awesome. You hit Sopranos, Mad Men, these are like huge, like the big shows. And then you get to throw in like Hulk and Supergirl, which is very awesome. That is so much of a fun career. Do you like the superhero parts?
Oh my God, it's like my dream. Are you kidding? I'm dying to do. I keep trying to say it everywhere I go and all the press I do. Like, I love sci-fi. Put me in Star Wars. Put me in like any of the things where I have to act with a green screen, particularly like in a ship or flying, like you're getting too close, you're getting too close. Ah, like that's really what I want to be is like fighter pilot number 3 right now.
Yeah, I'll take number 3. Guys, questions, come up to the mic if you have any, because I'll keep talking. Going back to Supergirl, then what's her name?
Gamemne.
Okay, I was like, I don't know how to say this.
I know.
But that costume, was that like all glued to your face, or was it CGI'd, or what?
It was CGI.
All right.
Yeah.
I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, she was like a Leviathan.
So when you're wearing a green mask thing?
What did I? No, I just they just did it in post.
And
what did I have to put on? Gosh, I'm trying to remember. They built the suits. It was the first time I had like a superhero supervillain costume. And then they would kind of, the SFX guys would come and say, okay, kind of have to stay still, do certain things that then they would know to computerize later.
Now, is this true? My son actually told me this in the car ride over today, and I never know what YouTube thing is not true or not true. But
yes.
Is the Arrowverse going to be done completely?
Oh, I have no idea.
Is this true? Do you guys know? Like, they were like at the SCW's closing, and I was like, no way, really? Well, maybe it's probably fake news then. He probably heard it from some YouTuber. But I wanted actually to, Brandon Routh, I thought he might know too. I was like, someone's got to know this answer, but I guess not.
The CW is like folding?
I don't know. This is literally, like, he's got his hands in the air,
you
so
know?
I'm guessing it is a rumor that's out there, but who knows?
I don't know. Hope not, right? A lot of good shows.
The Arrowverse, did you like being a part of that? Was that cool? Or you when you're on it, you're like, oh, I'm just in Supergirl?
Yeah, I think I was just in Supergirl. Yeah. So,
but do you feel like a part of the other things?
I do. I've always I'm in a DC, comic show.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Like, I want to keep doing more.
Do you have to stay DC for a while? Like, can you flip over to whatever you want?
I don't think so, because I think TV maybe, and maybe because it was just one season.
Okay.
It's okay. I don't have anything that says I can't do anything else.
Okay. Let's talk Stranger Things then.
Yeah.
I was telling my kids, I was like, okay, they were like, okay, who's from Stranger Things? I was like, it's Mike's mom, and they were like, yay. So they were really excited, and I loved this show, but so jumping into it, I guess it's horror, right? You feel horror-ishy? Do you like that? Do you like the horror genre?
The horror genre. When I was younger, like 12, 13, I used to sneak into the movie theaters and watch Friday the 13th and Halloween. I loved it. And then as I got older, I don't like the gore or being scared, especially paranormal stuff. But I like being part of this. I like it, but I get scared watching it.
So when you're on set for a horror film, any horror film, but this in particular, do you feel any of that sort of scariness, or is that all in post-production is where that comes from?
Yeah, see, first of all, my character has no idea.
She doesn't go to the scary things, right? She doesn't go there.
She's like, hey, let's have pancakes, but we'll see if she ever gets scared of anything.
But hold on, so I thought in the last season that all the parents were going to suddenly know, because it was kind of big enough to where okay, at this point, everyone's got to know that this is real.
Yeah, I mean, there's a flood of cars leaving town. Yeah. There's a 7.4 earthquake.
Yeah. But do you play that character as, I'm playing this as someone who is oblivious? Or do you think your character has inclinations of something that's going on?
In my private moments?
When she's off screen, is she that's something weird?
So there's no kind of inkling when you see her on screen that it's affecting her, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah.
So I've always justified it that Karen is a closet drinker and starts drinking at 4 in the afternoon, so she doesn't really know what's going on.
That's actually great, and you could easily insert that into that character if later on she's just well,
I started in the earlier seasons. I always ask for a glass of white wine. And I'd be like, can I have wine here? Can I have wine at breakfast? Can you bring a glass of wine? I'd be on the phone and ask for a glass of wine because I needed to justify it. Even though I know, we're justifying Demogorgons and, and a lot of other things. But I also felt just because I don't really take part in the plot and a lot of bad stuff happens.
Yeah, yeah. So. I totally was guessing that, okay, everyone's going to find out. The whole town's going to be in on the end of this. But
I mean, with the earthquake, I'm so curious. We're all so curious what's going to play out in season 5.
Does that show have an end? or are they going to keep going until they feel like not going anymore?
I think the Duffers announced that,
Is that
season
true?
5's the end, right? I know I should know this, but yeah,
Again,
that's the
I
end.
only hear from my kids, and I never believe anything they say. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you're wrong. But I think they say that.
Yeah,
too.
they said
that's
season
cool.
5.
Do you like that? Do you like, or is that more, or you're like, don't like that because it's obviously not more work, but do you like, oh, I have a show it's done, and it's good, and
I think, most shows, I think 5 seasons is the right number. I mean, I would love it to go on in perpetuity because I love it.
Yeah.
But, everything has to come to an end.
it's definitely a show that after season 1, I was like, oh, this is great. We don't need any more. And then season 2 came.
Yeah.
And again, I have teenagers, so they devour it in one day.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, this is good too. And then 3, I'm like, this is, and I keep thinking because I'm like, okay, we should be done. We should, but it's so good.
Yeah.
Great job.
That's really, they do a great
pro-
job.
Any project that's coming up that you're allowed to talk about that you're excited about?
Let's see. What did I do? I just had something on Hulu that you can stream called "A Girl from Plainville," which is like a true story.
No, I
with
saw
Fanning.
a lot about that.
Yeah, that was that's still
super
streaming.
serious.
It's very serious. It's about
true
like
story.
This, yeah, it's very well done. It's about that texting suicide case, so it's very heavy, but they do a good job. I just did my actually first proper horror movie. It's called She Came from the Woods, and it premiered at Fright Fest in the UK.
Is that going to be streaming anywhere?
I think they sold it. It's going to come out. So it's like a very campy camp horror movie. So that was a lot of fun.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous and fun. And
what's your role in that?
I play the sort of the daughter's owner of the camp, like the adult who's there. And it's like, you weren't supposed to say, they play this game, like you weren't supposed to say her name, and now you've brought her back to life, and she's killing everybody,
Did you say the name?
No, I was saving everyone from her clasp.
Are you like the final girl in it?
I survive with
that's great.
my
Spoiler
son.
alert, guys, sorry.
No, it's okay. A lot of kids die.
That's awesome.
It's fun. It's like a really fun, campy camp movie.
I'm writing that down because I can't wait for that.
She came from the woods.
She came from those. Girl from Plainville.
Yeah.
So going from superheroes to just kind of fun horror,
yeah,
that's a big leap. Hard, difficult. You did love it. Tell us about that.
I mean, I love Elle Fanning and Chloe Sevigny was in it. I thought for a second, like, why are they going to do a show about this? Because I sort of had made up my mind, like this girl convinces this boy to commit suicide over text. It's like a very tragic.
True, right?
Yeah, it's a very tragic story. But I thought what was really interesting was that it shows the tragedy on both sides and really addresses mental health issues and suicide awareness. And I think all the struggles that a lot of you young people and teenagers have to deal with social media and bullying and isolation. So I think they did it in a really responsible way, and I was like happy to, be part of it.
Yeah. Man, and that is on Hulu?
Hulu,
yeah. That's right.
A little heavy.
Very. Man, that's crazy. And was that so? And I'm putting me in that as well. Not from as much as the texty world. So to jump into that and to take it as a serious, that's been a journey for me. Like, okay, this is a serious thing. I have teenagers texting. Was that hard to get into this idea that, oh yeah, this happens and this did?
Yeah, I mean, it's, with a powerful, can words be weaponized? Can we can see that. We see that with bullying online and all kinds of things. And, I'm addicted to my phone. I try to get my daughter, she doesn't have a phone yet, but just learning. I think we're all becoming more aware of like the positive things of our devices and the negative things. Yeah. And I feel like unfortunately, like the teenagers between like 15 and 20 were like the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
And now we know a lot more danger of it. So
yeah, I think right now it's 14-year-olds who are the first generation that do not know what it's like to not have a touch screen.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because my 18-year-old, he remembers DVDs and PBS. See, I told you guys, you don't want to hear my questions. All right, before we are done, does anyone have anything they want to ask? And you don't have to come to the mic if you don't want to.
Okay,
come to
the mic.
Mike.
Right up.
She can go first. So what was it like?
What? Now you need to come to the mic, Tiernan.
Okay. There you go.
So what was it like working on The Sopranos?
Oh. Do you watch The Sopranos? No, yeah.
Who's your parents?
Awesome. Sopranos was, before Stranger Things. I mean, I've been so lucky. I remember getting that job, coming home on the subway, and like when they gave me the offer, like I literally fell off my chair crying because I was so happy to be on that show. And when I couldn't sleep the night before. I was like sick to my stomach. And I got to set, and literally everyone said, "Welcome to the family," like a big Italian family. Edie Falco threw her arms around me. Michael Imperioli was like, "If you need anything," everyone's like, "What do you need anything? Come talk to me." Like, it was really, truly like that. People would come and hang out at craft service. And it was the most Jim Gandolfini. Like, there's no hierarchy. It wasn't like he's the star and we're the actors. It was like the crew. Everyone was like equal. We all ate together. Everyone could talk to each other. It was such a beautiful experience. I felt so blessed to be on the show. When we went to the Emmys, I'll tell you a funny story.
Ooh, let's hear it.
I was sitting with the cast, and it was really like being with a bunch of Italian, like from New York, who'd never been anywhere. Like, people would get up and like win an award, and like the guys would be like, "Who's that? I never heard of him." And the wives would be like, "Shh, shh." And they're like, "Be quiet. Who is that? I've never seen them. Oh, they're on that show." And you would think that they were like never been anywhere, like with famous people. And then there was like a green room with food. And they're like, "You hungry? You want anything?" And there were like plates of food under our chairs. So our side of the theater was like the most fun I've ever had anywhere. It was
what
really
year
nice.
was that? Would it have been 2000-ish?
2008,
I
I think, was the last
and
time.
Watch it.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question from my brother Vince.
Okay.
He wants to know what your favorite flirting scene was with Billy.
Are you comfortable answering this?
yeah,
Okay.
I feel
sure.
comfortable answer.
Yeah, right. Season 2, like when he rings the doorbell, because I was so surprised when I heard that was going to be the plot line. I was like, "That's cool. That's kind of funny," and it was just fun. It was like kind of came out of nowhere, and it was just fun to play and like flirt. And he was so great, and it just, it was just like tickled me. And he's such a great actor, and yeah, that was just like a ton of fun to do.
Good question.
Yeah.
This is a dumb guy question. Are you wearing a wig?
What?
Is it a wig?
Season 2 was a wig.
Okay.
Season 2 and 4, I'm wearing a wig. Yeah.
My wife would be like, yeah, duh. Like,
That was a good wig.
Yeah.
They're all great wigs.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, I wanted to know if you had any fun stories from any of the sets you've worked on that you want to share.
Oh, fun stories. Oh yeah. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Then I can't think of one because. Oh my goodness, it's a lot of pressure. Fun stories. Let me think about
have you
Stranger
had
Things.
like a side-splitting laugh in a scene because something happened that wasn't supposed to? That was so funny.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There've been so many, but I'm trying to think of
Oh,
one
it's all right.
where. Well, actually, this is a show I did where I was a guest star on Law and Order. Not Special Victims Unit. Criminal Intent, and I was in a coma, and Vince D'Onofrio kept trying to make me laugh, and I was supposed to be in a coma, and he would just like right before action say some funny things. So that's the last thing you want to do when you're and I couldn't, like, it took so long, but it wasn't my fault. So that's kind of like a funny thing.
Oh, I bet he'd be hard to not laugh at, too, because he's got that booming voice. And saying something funny, you would just be like...
Yeah. He's very intimidating that way.
Hi. I know you can't give anything away, but do you think in Stranger Things, Karen is going to have a bigger part in the story, or do you think she's going to pretty much stay oblivious?
That's the question, right? I have no idea as we come to an end. I mean, I would love it if she did one thing that was outside of the house. Like, I have a dream that like I'm outside with baby Holly, and like somehow they come for baby Holly. And do you remember that? Have you seen Mitchell's versus the Machines? Mm-hmm. The animated movie. At the end, like the sweet mom, like the machines go after her son, and she like ninjas out and she like destroys them all. They're like, Mom.
Yeah.
I would love to have that moment.
That would be sweet. And that would be totally within that character.
Right.
too.
You're like,
I would
she's
get it.
still the mom, but like, don't mess with my baby. Right.
That's great.
That would
You
like-
should totally pitch
I should
that.
tell them, yeah.
Like, hey guys, I got it now.
Hi.
Hi.
So I was wondering like what it's like to work with like younger actors in Stranger Things, just because I know like most of them are younger.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when we started it was 7 years ago, they were all between like 11 and 13, right? So I happen to love kids. I just love kids. And so I was so happy to get on a show with kids because I have fun with them. I like what they're into. I like when they play. So, and it's interesting because they all have to, so when they were all minors, you know, they all have to go to school. So you work, and then they're very strict about pulling them out to school. So things take a little bit longer. So they have a lot to do. They have to go to school on set and then come back and do their scenes. But, you know, the casting director, Carmen Cuba, who found all the kids, I mean, I think deserves a ton of credit because she found these incredibly talented, really professional kids, you know? Like, my daughter's amazing, but I couldn't imagine her taking direction on set, and like she'd be like, you know, you have to be a certain kind of maturity at that young age that they all had.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
All right, we got like 2 minutes before we wrap it up. Anything else?
Anything?
And that's it. Oh, we got one.
One more.
I have two, I guess.
Hi.
So, Third Watch, big fans.
Oh,
Love
thank
Third Watch.
you.
How is it to come into the 5th season, that last season?
Oh, that's so interesting. So Third Watch was this TV series I did on NBC. I played a paramedic. And it's so funny, in those days, you know, which you don't do anymore, when we drove the ambulance, they would put like the camera on, they would left side for this side or right side, and the video, like the director in the video village would be in the ambulance, and we would drive through New York City streets. I would be driving. Their lives were in my hands. This wouldn't happen today. Like, it's crazy.
There's
But
use GoPros or something now?
yeah, it's like all screens. It's
Yeah.
all, you don't even do those shots anymore in the street. It's really interesting. To be honest, I was really nervous because I had been added to a few series, you know, and it's always hard to go in. So like when I went to Sopranos, I was really nervous because it was a little hard on that show. Like, they were much more solidified and like a little cliquey, to be honest. Like, everyone was nice, but it was a hard for me to get in at that time. But, you know, I made friends, and I loved working on it. You know, that's kind of the old school where they did 22 episodes a year, and that was you know, that last season. Yeah, so it was hard. It was like kind of a baptism by fire in a way, but very nice. The producers were great. The writers were great. Yeah.
So you mentioned Law and Order, so you were in multiple episodes on 3 different series.
Yes.
How is it to play like 5 different roles, like in that that universe?
Oh, like in Law and Order?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done. I know someone said I did 5. God, it took me
Oh, you're
forever.
a different character in all
Different
5.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that is fun.
It was so funny. It took me like 3 years to get a part on Law and Order. I would go in and audition and be like, how hard is it to get one of these guest roles, you know? And then they invited me back it was awesome because those guest stars, particularly when you're on the stand, are so interesting. You know, there's so much going on. I was guilty in 2 of them. And then I was a lawyer in one. Then I was like a mom. I don't even remember, but it was way more fun to be on the stand when you've got, you know, you're like the main character. It's awesome. Wish they'd invite me back and do something else.
That was my next question. Any hints of coming back?
I guess it's been a while. Like, they should ask me back. It's been like, It's time, I think.
How often does that happen where you have the same actor doing in the same show doing different roles? I would have never guessed.
I feel like it could happen now. It happens a few times now in Law and Order. Like, they're really good about employing New York actors. Like, they really try to like get theater actors, people starting out, helping them, and helps with their health insurance. Like, they're very conscious of that, I feel like, as well, to try to help people, you know, earn a living
So there's never been like a weird fan who's like, wait a minute, you were Karen, the lawyer, and now you're on the stand.
I think the fans like that. They're like, I remember, like, I'll see it. I'm like, that person was in the original Law and Order, and I've seen them 5 years later. It's fun. Yeah. Like when you spot somebody, because it's been on for like 25 years, you know?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Can't get to the last question because we have to go.
Yes. I think that's
But thank you guys so much for being here. Let's give it up for Cara one more time.
Thank you for coming. It's been so nice. Everyone's so nice in Cincinnati.